Jen Psaki, another former flack for one President Biden, who was an excellent liar. You gotta hand her that. I mean, I don't think that KJP was the best liar. Like, she'd always get caught in these lies, but Jen did a pretty good job. AKA Peppermint Patty. Remember her? Well, she's like the classic mean girl. So she just, for whatever reason, decided to take on Usha Vance, who has more class in her little pinky than Jen ever even dreamt of ever having in her whole life. I mean, Usha, who's a brilliant, well-educated woman and can do like pirouettes around one Jen Psaki, Peppermint Patty any day of the week. But for whatever reason, I guess maybe they see JD as a threat. And so is this a divide and conquer move? Like, you're going to try and like go after Usha? Is that your methodology? I bet you it is. This is, I mean, like what they tried to do, right? With Trump and Melania. She's trying to go after Usha in this clip. And it's gross. I mean, she's just, honestly, guys, like, she's a bad person. I don't know how else to say it. Kind of a lousy, nasty, bad person with a bad hairdo and a bad haircut. And I'm sorry, that's how she got the name Peppermint Patty. Watch.
I think the little Manchurian candidate, JD Vance, wants to be president more than anything else. Yeah. I always wonder what's going on in the mind of his wife. Like, are you okay?
Do you hear that, by the way? What'd she call him? Manchurian candidate, the little Manchurian candidate. So she's nasty. She's nasty. I told you.
Blink 4 times.
Yes.
We'll come over here. We'll save you. And that he's willing to do anything to get there. And that your whole iteration you just outlined, I mean, he's scarier in certain ways.
He's smarter.
In some ways. And he's young.
Yeah. And ambitious.
And agile in the sense that he is a chameleon who makes himself into whatever he thinks the audience wants to hear from him. Now, what's also true, though, is JD Vance is not, he's in some ways goodish on paper if you like what he believes in. I don't know.
He's goodish on paper? He's goodish on paper? You see what I'm telling you? She's terrified. Because you know what? He probably will be the next president of the United States. So she's gearing up right now. I mean, they want Gavin, right? Newscom, as Donald Trump likes to call him. They want Gavin to win this thing. Watch.
The whole movement with him.
No way.
I don't think so either.
There's no riz.
It's got no riz, right?
None.
And he just is a little odd. And so Trump's odd in a different way. So I'm skeptical of that. So yeah, he's got to, I mean, everything going on right now, and I think we have to be very clear-eyed about this, is about trying to manipulate the public around elections. And
whoa. All right. So she definitely takes the cake. Mean girl of the moment. None of it surprises me. She has kind of a background, right, in being super mean. She's a political op. And by the way, her show sucks. Okay. Like, her show is a disaster. So, hey, Jen, good luck. I wish you all the best, because as soon as that company gets spun off, in a few weeks at this point, MSNBC is going to get spun off into that company. They're calling it Versant, because Comcast doesn't want to have anything to do with these people, right? They're just nothing but a big giant liability costing a whole lot of money. Well, Jen, I'm not so sure you're going to keep your show because nobody's watching. Like, nobody. Then again, I guess if you're MSNBC Versant and you're just trying to squeeze every little last nickel you can, I guarantee you she doesn't cost much. All right. Maybe you need to pay up and get Rachel on the air more often. Not that that's going to help either. The shutdown continues, guys. The shutdown continues. And the view on this is that the Democrats are too afraid. They just can't do squat. They're too afraid to move. Listen to Mike Johnson earlier today.
Nonpartisan CR, they're going to get hammered. Another insider said in that same story, quote, "We would have enough votes to reopen the government if people were not terrified of getting the guillotine." Okay? They mean it metaphorically, but in a political sense, that's exactly what they're concerned about. Now think about the fact that we're just laying out here. These are simple facts. We come out here every morning and remind the American people of what's going on. Do not let them distract you from the facts. The American people would have an open government if Democrats were not terrified of their radical base. That is the headline. Every single one of you should write that. That's the ugly truth. The Democrats are not governing in good faith. They're covering their own tail. out here
you
decrying
can say
the
that again.
so-called,
You know what? It kind of stinks because we actually ought to have a clean CR and we ought to be able to move towards real negotiations. The president said to be leaving for China in a short amount of time. And could there be some kind of negotiation ahead of time? Not unless they reopen the government, he says. So they are keeping it shut down, which means more problems for everyone. It's all over $1.5 trillion that would go to the care of illegals for health care. You know, you had 2-3 million people being brought into this country illegally a year, and Trump's like, no, we're not going to do it. By the way, all that money, it was supposed to expire anyway. And let's face it, the healthcare costs, they're bad, like as it is, right? They are bad as it is. It's why I've partnered with Conservatives for Lower Healthcare on this one issue, specifically when it comes to pharma stuff. Big Pharma and its arm of lobbyists, they're working overtime to make sure that Americans keep paying the world's highest prescription drugs. And Donald Trump has a problem with that. He does. I mean, big time. It's been a big sort of cause for him. Big Pharma pushes all these government mandates designed to stack the deck in their favor, of course, and their goal in Washington is pretty simple. They want to escape any kind of accountability, if you ask me, and they do it under this guise of free markets. But no, they're actually out there blocking free market competition, and they're jacking up already outrageous prices. So it means more government intrusion, bigger profits for them, higher costs for families and for businesses. It's lousy. So Conservatives for Lower Healthcare, they want to see Big Pharma's agenda getting squashed, if you would, because it's not fair to stick Americans and employers with these very high premiums and drug costs. President Trump's not backing down. His administration is cracking down on drug companies that gouge Americans and mislead patients with obnoxious advertising. You know what I'm talking about. Meanwhile, conservatives in Congress are introducing reforms to stop Big Pharma's games. This is important, that block generics and keep prices high. So join me together with Conservatives for Lower Healthcare here in helping to reject Big Pharma's agenda. You can go check it out. PharmaWindfall.com today. Help lower drug prices. We certainly need that. Listen, we are so lucky to be doing all that we're doing here on this show. I want to thank you for helping us to stay. What are we? Number 66? Oh no, actually we fell a little bit. But still, it's wonderful to see. And I'm thrilled that we've been able to accomplish so much here on this show. So thank you for all that you guys do. I am going to be live once again right here, on the Trish Regan channel tomorrow.